Hey everybody, welcome to NFL Three Bagger Week 2. Kylie's not with me today. He unfortunately had to work, and then he's going to find himself in nature again this weekend. So Mike Honorati will be filling in on the regular pod tomorrow. That'll be uploaded sometime tomorrow afternoon. The audio for this will, of course, be uploaded immediately following, so it'll be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. So here we are live from the Hive. We're going to recap a little. Well, first I want to make an announcement, something we're going to start incorporating into this show next week. Kylie's, as everybody knows, really into fantasy. So we're going to add a stardom situm for the quarterback, running back, and I believe he said tight end position or wide receiver. So quarterback, wide receiver, running back. Kylie is going to do that. I will not be partaking. I'll be listening and hopefully getting some good advice, maybe so I can win in some of my leagues. So real quick shout out to the sponsors, Jones Pest Control, Swing Juice, shopswingjuice.com. Use promo code Beehive20, get 20% off your order. Also like to give a shout out to yourdailylocal.com and Napoli Pizza. Thank you guys all for making this possible. So we're going to recap last week. It was a solid start for me with a 3-0 record. So keep in mind, when I put the post up on the Facebook page Sunday morning, that is indicating to you what we locked the bet in at and then what it's at now. So you have, for instance, there was some line movement on some of them. One in particular, the Jets. I took the Jets at 5.5, plus 5.5. That's a cover. They lost that game by 5. I had them with the hook, with the 0.5. So that's a cover. That put me at 3-0. That was my closest one, as the Seahawks they won by 12. We're at minus 2.5. Rams won by 20 at minus 7.5. So just keep in mind of that. When we lock those bets in, that's what we're carrying to keep our records square. Kylie, rough week 1 and 2. He thought he went 0-3 actually, but that was before we discussed the lock-in bets, of course. The 49ers did cover with his minus 7.5. The Ravens minus 4.5 obviously ended up losing in the Monday night shootout, and then the Jaguars just got it taken to them against the Texans. So we're going to get into our picks. I am going to announce Kylie's picks. He did text them to me, so I have his picks and his explanations here in front of me. So let's get moving. Kylie's first pick, he's going with the Thursday night game. So this is at minus 3.5 currently, opened at minus 3. He's taken Washington, swallowing the points. And in fact, I'm sorry, the advanced line on this, it opened at 5.5. It's already dropping down. A lot of that would be because of the Fitzy injury. I don't think everybody is. I think a lot of people are in agreement that the backup in Washington isn't far off from what Fitzy is. So his, that's Kylie's explanation, is that he's not much worse than Fitzy, and some might argue he's better. Washington would have won last week if Gibson didn't fumble against a good Chargers team. The Giants were blown out by the Broncos. He also likes betting the teams with a backup QB playing because he says that teams tend to rally around that, which I would agree with. You do see, I can think of an example, I believe it was last year, with Finley starting against the Steelers in a primetime game. So Kylie's first pick, he's taken Washington minus 3.5. So moving on to my first pick, I'm liking the Broncos minus 6 on the road at Jacksonville. There's a lot of reasoning actually behind this one, and I was reading more into it this morning. It's not that I love Denver. It's more that I think the Jaguars are in serious trouble already. The Texans were predicted to be a 4-win, or the over-under for Texans win was 4 as far as Vegas goes. Then they go, they hang 37 on Jacksonville. The more that I read into this, it's not that like I said, that I love Denver, but Urban Meyer, there's already reports coming out that he's causing major issues with the players, the staff. He's taking over drills. He's struggling to understand the flow of the NFL calendar. An example of that would be he shut out a conference call he was supposed to have today with the Broncos. He already kiboshed it. Of course, the NFL did not make it mandatory now. This is the first year of that. The coaches do not have to partake in conference calls with opposing teams' media. The reason they did that historically was to give fans more content to read throughout the week. A lot of people are speculating that he may be visiting or doing something with USC. USC just fired Helton, and his name popped up. Urban Meyer's name popped up immediately. So that would be an insane move if he, one of the shortest stints I've seen in the NFL. The only one shorter would be when Josh McDaniels got hired by the Colts a few years back, and then immediately after he hired staff, quit and went back to New England. But yeah, the Broncos played a complete game against the Giants. I know Jerry Jeudy's going to be out, but I still think that they're just more complete. I think there's a lot of disarray going on in Jacksonville. Again, as far as coaching goes, I don't love Vic Fangio, but I think Urban Meyer may have bit off more than he could chew when it comes to the NFL. We're going to move on to Kylie's second pick. And he's got the Saints. He's taking the Panthers plus 4.5. This game already jumped again, actually, today. I watched the line move as I was making these banners. A lot of people there's big time overreaction on the Saints because of the win against Green Bay. Everybody knows Green Bay is the better team in that game. They just did not show up at all. There's a lot of injuries coming through the Saints right now, too. Lattimore's going to be out. Their starting center, another defense, a couple pass rushers are going to be out, starting pass rushers for the game. The advanced line was actually a pick'em, according to what Kylie has written here, and has risen 4 points while the Saints have injuries piling up. They also have COVID outbreak going through their coaching staff right now, which could also lead to some issues as the game unfolds. So Kylie likes the Panthers here. In some lines, they did cover last week. Not, like I said, if you took the Jets early when we did the show last week, it was not a cover at 5.5. But that game, went down as we got closer to kickoff. You could find it at 3.5, and the Panthers did cover that spread. So Kylie's rolling with the Panthers here at plus 4.5. So my second game, I'm taking the this game actually dropped too since I wrote my notes. It was at plus 3. It's now at plus 2.5. That's probably public money coming in on the Cowboys. Cowboys, I know they're on the road for the second straight week, but Dak and that offense just looked good. They looked really confident playing against the defending champs, went toe-to-toe with them. The issue was the time on the clock they left, and I actually text a few people. If you watch that game, as the Cowboys scored late, they panned the camera to Brady, and he just had the Brady look where you knew somebody was about to get fucked up. And unfortunately for the Cowboys, they were the ones playing him that day. Gave him too much time. He leads them down for the game winner. The Cowboys have Zach Martin returning, which should help with the ground game. The over-under in this game is set at 55.5, which leads me to believe you're going to see an offensive shootout. I tend to take the points when you get to those kinds of games. And I just think the Cowboys, I know Herbert's good. I think Dak's better. Cowboys have the better offensive line. I like the points with this game with the Cowboys. So you have to apologize. I did not make Kylie's banner for the last one, which is his pick of the week. So hopefully those who are listening have the audio up. Kylie's pick of the week is Arizona minus 4.5 versus Minnesota. I believe this is the Cardinals home opener. Kylie says he thinks Arizona team might be a lot better than people anticipated this year, even with untrustworthy Cliff Kingsbury, which I agree with that. Jury's still out on what type of coach he is. They do have some secondary issues, but if their pass rush looked as good as it did last week, everybody saw Jones with, I think it was 5 total sacks he had during the game. Just a monster of a game. Taylor Lewan actually tweeted about him being exposed because of what took place there. Kylie says that Murray's shoulder looks healthy again as he struggled a bit down the stretch with it last year. He looks 100% and possibly could be in the running for an MVP campaign. Meanwhile, the Vikings just lost to the Bengals, and Kylie thinks that the Cardinals' defensive line is just a mismatch in this contest. Could be a long day for Kirk Cousins. So the pick of the week for Kylie going to be the Cards minus 4.5 at home. So moving on to my final pick and my pick of the week. This is not a homer pick. I know everybody's going to say that anyways. I like the Bills minus 3.5 against the Dolphins. Josh Allen has a 5-1 record with a 114.3 passer rating against the Dolphins. 1,500 plus yards in those 6 games. 17 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. I just think this is a bounce back game for Buffalo. They completely underperformed on Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they were still in the game. That was a point brought to me by my buddy Tori, who I hadn't actually looked at it that way, but he was right. They didn't play very well, and they still almost won the game against Pittsburgh. Special teams blunder and a couple questionable 4th down calls led to that loss. So I just think that this is a huge bounce back game. The Bills are still top 5 in ESPN power rankings, even with an 0-1 record. Top 10 on the herd hierarchy. Everybody knows that this team's complete, returning all the starters and everything. So I just feel that this is a bounce back game for them. The Dolphins got away with a win in New England off of a fumble that took place kind of late in the game. So that's going to be my pick of the week, as I'm swallowing the points here, minus 3.5 with the Dolphins. So that wraps up the picks. Like I said, next week, Kylie should be back, obviously, and we're going to start doing the fantasy sit 'em, pick 'em. Kylie's going to do that. He's still going to partake with the picks and everything. And again, just a reminder, like I said, these are the lines that we lock in at as far as the record goes. Kylie and I had discussed that. He thought he lost the 49ers game because it was ended at 8.5. I think it closed at, which is not a cover. But when we did the show, it was 7.5, which is where we're locking the lines in at. So they will move throughout the week. So it's up to you guys when you get on them, if you get on them. But just remember that line movement's going to happen, especially when you get closer to kickoff, because bigger bets start coming in from the heavy hitters out in Vegas or wherever they may be. So again, like I said, next week we're going to start the sit 'em, pick 'em. Kylie's going to give his 3 best sit picks for 3 different positions: quarterback, running back, wide receiver. And that's going to wrap up this week for the NFL 3-bagger. I will put the post up again Sunday morning saying what the lines are at currently, closer to kickoff, so that you guys can see the movement from, Wednesday morning till Sunday, as a lot could happen with injuries and whatnot. So thanks for listening. Again, give a shout out to the sponsors, Swing Juice, Jones Pest Control, YourDailyLocal.com, Napoli Pizza, and the Me, Myself, and Rye podcast. Until next time, take care. Be safe.